Hi there. I'm CJ Miller. I'm in Shreveport, Louisiana, and across the Red River is beautiful Bossier City, Louisiana. And yeah, always want to invite you to come and check us out. Lots of fun things, especially over the spring and summer. There's right in the middle of our uh, festival season. Uh, so beginning pretty soon, and then going into September, it's gonna be great. Um, we Yeah, no, it's great. Um, I want to let you know. I want to keep you apprised of the things. Pretty soon, we'll have some, you know, uh, well, no, starting pretty soon, we'll have like uh, our art festivals, music festivals, things like that. Well, we've always got some stuff going on, um, but we'll have State Fair in September. I know I'm putting the cart before the horse, but I'm just looking forward into my year because I love once the winter closes down, kind of dies down, and we kind of get into the spring. From spring, summer, and fall, it's all about us, baby. We have everything going on. We have a new jazz festival that's going to start downtown. We normally do one over in Columbia Park, so I'm excited to see that. I'm just gonna keep up with keep up with what's going on. Boy, am I so. I really maybe should like rehearse or write a script or something before I do these, but that would just I don't know. I like to just like shoot from the hip when I'm doing like little videos, little vlogs or whatever, because I feel like it's like more authentic, and I feel like if I just sat and read like wrote a report and then sat and read it uh, to a camera, it would be like so. Uh, Inauthentic, and it would I'd have a tendency to sound like a commentator. Do you know the commentators? And they started all the way back uh, when movies first had sound. You'd get the commentators, and people would read the comments like this certain uh, inflection in their voices to draw attention to what they wanted you to notice. And it was a very, very unnatural way of speaking. Of course, especially the more critical they were, the more unnatural those voices seemed to be. And even then, I can't even do it. Like I would have to like rehearse that or whatever. But yeah, it's like terrible. But that's what, and some of that I see on YouTube videos. It's like people will do a movie review or something, or they'll do a review of a trend or a trope or something like that, and it's like, oh my god, are you? I mean, why read a commentary that's been pre-written? Why read it as a commentary? And I guess the one you're really going to be able to identify with is from the movie A League of Their Own. There were some reels about that, and the woman, I forget her name, that she was doing the commentary on the baseball league. I think that's the one I was maybe channeling when I was doing my little imitation of it. But by the way, um, I have a couple of guilty pleasures that I'm gonna comment on. Excuse me. I'm having my early dinner right now, which normally I do not eat a lot during the day or whatever. But it's like you got to listen to your body when your body needs to eat, and this time it did. So that's cool. So nuggets, chicken. Actually, that's dinos, chicken dinos or whatever. I had some around because I'm expecting sometime uh, some relatives to visit and they'll bring their kids. So I picked up some, dino Dino chicken, whatever, Dino nuggies, whatever. They're not bad actually, and they do great in the air fryer. Oh well, I'll test it out. If it don't kill me, it won't kill him. Okay, so um, I wanna talk about one of my guilty pleasures. Now, this is something that I think every child can relate to, of my generation at least, and maybe before. Um, the American daytime cereal during the summertime. Sometimes when my mom uh, had her days off, or before she started her career, when she was um, you know with us at home, when we were real little or whatever, she would watch some soap operas. A little bit of Guiding Light, a little Young and the Restless. I think her favorite, and the one that I would get and watch that I got engrossed with, there was The Edge of Night. Uh, the one that really grabbed me were re-airings of Dark Shadows. But before I knew what Dark Shadows was, The Edge of Night, and it was a typical soap opera, but it was a little bit more action driven than some of the other soap operas of the time. Um, the one that got me, the story arc that got me, and I don't even quite remember. Now you can YouTube these episodes, um, The Edge of Night, and search for Edge of Night, The Edge of Night, and Winter. Winter was a character who was, I guess she had a, I don't know how long her arc lasted on the show. I don't know if it was months or years or whatever, but I do know that at the end of what was going on, they needed to sew up a mystery, because this is Edge of Night, and Edge of Night basically was about love and everything like that, but it was, as soap operas are, but mysteries. They were basically, it was supposed to be initially, uh, it was proposed as a Perry Mason serial, and they liked it, but for some reason couldn't or didn't go with Perry Mason as a detective. But they kept the detective aspect of it, and then it became a daytime serial. And the arcs were long in soap opera, whatever. So anyway, so Winter, there's this character April, I think, uh, who's about to do, or she's rehearsing a report at the news station where she works. I guess maybe she's an investigative reporter or something like that. There'd been a rash of killings, two or three killings or something like that, and Winter was basically the perpetrator, or she was mixed up with it or whatever. And so basically, she killed some people to cover up her tracks. And so what she did was chase this poor woman around the television studio after hours. And I was just, it's a stroke of genius for a soap opera to be set primarily in the working environment around a television studio, because all you have to do is shoot around your typical studio. You don't really have to do a lot. But anyway, this was um, very early Friday the 13th, part one, 79 going into 80. It was around that time. So this we get this very first I think I've talked about her before. Winter. Am I about to run out of time? Yeah, my battery's low. Some features may not work. I'll try to wrap this up. Anyway, Winter walked in. She didn't get to kill the lady, but it was kind of like the twist, the big reveal. And what was important about this is that at the like this character was great, but then she was going to be written out of the show. So this was like just as she was about to twist off, they pulled a switcheroo, and they brought in a new actress. The other actress uh, playing Winter was just totally recast, and the recast person just played her basically um, the same way that Betsy Palmer played um, Mrs. Voorhees in that first Friday the 13th reveal. And that went on for like 3 or 4 days, and uh, it created the trope that I was aware of. My very first sympathetic villain, you know, uh, and that was great. There may have been another one. I don't know. I think maybe in the older TV series of Wonder Woman. What was it? The New Adventures of Wonder Woman or something like that, or whatever. And there was a Shields and Yarnell episode where Shields and Yarnell, they were mimes, but in the '70s, you look them up, they're fun. But basically, what had happened was this was the episode of Formicida, and I think yeah, she was a sympathetic villainess, you know, uh, Formicida. So, but but it was kind of that trope of being like the sympathetic villainous. And then I didn't really see anything quite like that. There was Darcy Decker in Guiding Light a few years later, but that was more of a, they were kind of doing the preps and the hoods kind of thing, the outsiders kind of stuff, the with the Lou Jack and Beth story or whatever. You can Google that too, but but it's going to be mostly known as the Darcy Decker, arc on the Guiding Light. But the one that really gets me, and this is the one that I became aware of uh, on The Young and the Restless, Kimberlyn Brown, her character of Sheila Carter, uh, was a very sympathetic villain, and not so sympathetic on The Young and the Restless at first. She was a they really didn't give her an opportunity to develop that sympathetic side. Although she had a tendency for self justification, but then they brought her over to, like, after about 2, maybe going on 3 years, when her arc was up. The Bells, the writers of the soap, say they just didn't want to get rid of this character. It was supposed to be like maybe like a 3 month stint, and it lasted for years on The Young and the Restless. And so they brought her over to The Bold and the Beautiful. Uh, it's probably one of the most successful soap opera crossovers ever. Uh, Ever since that, and I even think, yeah, soaps will do that once in a while, crossover, but not to this amount of success. And it began, actually, they started laying the groundwork in season 5. One of the characters uh, was came to an outfit, and it came to an event wearing an outfit, and they complimented it, and they were like, "Where'd you get it?" And they were like, "We got it from Fenmore's West." So basically, that's Lauren Benmore, the character on Young and the Restless, her boutique in Los Angeles. But then that's all that was mentioned. And then a whole year later, we get this crossover of Sheila Carter, and she marries Eric Forrester, the uh, uh, I guess the lead on the show. It's one of the primary leads, and basically. Yeah, that just went on forever. But this woman was just absolutely, as a villainess, she was probably the most sympathetic villain villainess that I've ever witnessed, and that kind of endured her because she wasn't trying to really cover up tracks. Sometimes the writers would lose a little focus with what she was really about, and maybe give her a little bit of greediness or something like that. But that's really not at all what drives her. Never was. There was a moment in which they were kind of showcasing that, like, oh my god, she cares about love. She does care about self preservation and security, but um, yeah, she's not a villain, as in like just a maniacal villain for the sake of being a villain. She was that on The Young and the Restless, and when she transitioned to The Bold and the Beautiful, it's more like those things, those really extreme storyline things uh, became something that she would do as when she perceived it was a last resort. When there's a last resort, however, there's nothing she won't do as a last resort. And I'm very fond of. I've been watching The Bold and the Beautiful ever since that time when that crossover happened. Actually, I was watching the character on The Young and the Restless, and then really started watching The Bold and the Beautiful, primarily with such um, fandom because of that crossover. And of course, you can go back and you can watch like original episodes of the Young and the Restless beginning in 1987. You can watch mostly the whole serial all the way up until like current, you know. But yeah, that's been fun. And that's always really kind of fun to go back and watch this show, which there was a character, Dave Reed, who was a um, character, and the name Reed was the maiden name of Nikki Reed. And so I always thought it would be interesting if they made them somehow connected or whatever. It just turned out that they really didn't make any specific connections. And then there was a couple of characters who were from Madison, Wisconsin, but no real connection specifically that we know of to the Bold and the Beautiful, and the first real actual crossover. And they did set it up with Fenmore's West. That let us know, that was the first thing to let us know that this is taking place in the same universe as The Young and the Restless. And then the physical crossover. The first crossover actually happened with Eric Forrester being phone called, uh, being called on a payphone from a diner by Sheila Carter, and that episode happened on The Young and the Restless. And so the real first crossover was The Young and the Restless, and then the next uh, day, or it was the character just showed up on The Bold and the Beautiful. Nearly a seamless transition. So, but all this time later, and Sheila's done bad things, and so things that were so extreme that she actually had to go off canvas for a while. Like you can't just like justify some of this stuff um, and bring her back immediately or whatever. So, uh, and whatever, this and that, contracts and all this kind of stuff, But she's on the show now, and my prediction for the soap opera, The Bold and the Beautiful. Now I'm going to give it to you because the actress who plays Steffi Forrester, she is uh, about to have her fifth child. And so, what I predict, because every time she has a child and she wants a big family, so it's really great for the show because they find ways to get her off canvas for a little while. Uh, what I predict is going to happen. Last time, uh, she fell to the gunfire of Sheila Carter when she was away on maternity leave. This time, I think what's going to happen is that if you haven't caught up with your soaps, I'm going to spoil it the last few days. But Luna Nozawa, who is the um, just discovered, just revealed, is the maternal granddaughter of Sheila Carter by parentage of the son that she gave up for adoption. and they kind of like like he got shot. Sheila shot him and Steffi at the same time, and they both uh, nearly died. And actually, uh, John Finnegan was presumed dead for a while. But yeah, uh, um, but yeah. Anyway, but they're not. I don't think they're going to go that far out this time. This time, what's happening is the Forrester Company is being turned back over to the Forrester family to own it and manage it. And what's going to happen is, you know, they've made it. Hey, we're not, in acceptance of this. What we're not going to penalize uh, the two people. We're going to, uh, Carter, who owns the company, not Sheila Carter, but the attorney. Carter is his first name. Uh, he's going to remain on the board of directors and attorney and everything like that. And Hope Logan is going to maintain her fashion line, provided that it continues to produce. And I think what's going to happen is because Steffi Forrester is kind of like there, is kind of like that's her you know arc arc. That's her nemesis on the show, kind of, because they always like spar back and forth over men or whatever. I don't know. I think what it is with all these changes going on, and they're not going to be able to get rid of Hope from the company. And then I think what's going to happen is I think that Sheila's granddaughter Luna, they're going to bond. And also I think John Finnegan, the doctor, I think he's going to feel okay. Uh, he needs to because he just found out he was this grown woman's daughter, and this is the daughter who killed two men, kidnapped his wife, and put her in a cage. But they didn't know they were related, so it's okay, right? But anyway, so but he's the father, so I think he's going to try to be the father, and in that way, there's going to be some sort of bonding thing, and I think it's just going to be too much for Steffi, and I think that's going to be the catalyst. I don't think anybody's going to have to die or anything like that. I just think all these things going against Steffi is going to, like, she's going to blow off, maybe go to Europe for a few months, have the baby, and then you know. That's our May sweeps coming up. That's what I think. Going from now up until the May sweeps. Um, pretty much that's my prediction for the summer. So, and that being said, and I've talked about Dino Nuggies, our festival season. I basically talked about soap operas. So I wanted to lead in because I wanted to give the prediction of the Bold and the Beautiful, because it's like, I you know those of us who are old enough, we remember a soap opera uh, around 2001, whatever, called Passions, and it ran for like 6 years. Uh, and it was very formula. It was very formulary, and it even had elements of the supernatural. Well, my friends, 1991, 1992, I was doing a lot of running around, getting into a lot of trouble, but yeah, I was just this is one of the times that I got interested in soap opera, and I thought, well, I could write a soap opera, and I started writing synopses for several episodes of what I thought a synopsis would be a good storyline for a soap opera, and it involved, because this was, I wanted multicultural, because I was experiencing that, go running around the country. Uh, for better or for worse, I was getting more open than being just someone in a small town and never leaving, you know, a small town, or Shreveport being a small metro area or whatever. We didn't have a lot of, you know, um, we didn't have the internet and everything like that. So my world was a lot smaller. Uh, but it was becoming open because I was doing a lot of vagabonding, basically. And so I penned episodes, and then I actually called it Passions. 1991. I had a soap opera that I was working with, and I was doing, and I carried that. I did that for years. I carried like a whole bunch of them. I'm talking about came back, and then uh, throughout most of the 1990s, and I even did some theater work. I've talked about that before. A local theater work here in town, in which we did original work. But I presented this, and I was like, "Hey, we should do some serial work, in between our plays, to get a little continuity going or something like that." So I was trying to talk them into doing their original work, but also let me do this segment uh, that would precede our plays called Passions, and play it out as a soap opera, like it would be a serial. You every time you come back, you'd see another bit or something. But I don't know. We didn't stay in business longer than a few years, so we didn't really get up to that. As also the time that I was trying to do a science fiction based play called Lightyear Crusaders. The title was inspired by Starship Troopers. Uh, my director wanted to change the title to Light Crusades, and like lightweight light crusades, and I'm like, ugh, I'm not trying to do like a space epic retelling of crusades, although now that could work, but no. But anyway, it was more like a kind of a twist on bringing in Greek mythology into science fiction, such as you know the moon being home to an eternal goddess who also is like a dominatrix, uh, that I called the seductress. And she was the villain, and he wanted to give her like an actual name and all this. And it's like, ugh, Sachet. Ugh, probably got it from RuPaul. That name, I don't know. There's the one time that I really kind of disagree. Like the writer and director that I was working with, Thomas Buckner, I think was probably one of the most. He's an unsung hero of writers, and I don't even think he's published anywhere outside of what we used to do locally. But to me, the work that he did would rival anything. And I'm talking as far as a playwright. Uh, he was comparable to Neil Simon. He was comparable to he was really good at writing drama. He was also really good at writing gothic work. He was really good at writing farcical comedies. Like he was brilliant, and his wit was clicky. Like it was. I admired his work. Like I had a hero worship for his talent. Um, that's my Achilles heel. Like a person can be as attractive or unattractive as they happen to be. What's really going to get me is a person's creative talent. Uh, that triggers my G spot, baby. I don't know, but not for. I mean, like he was married and had a family and stuff. So, but